but I don't want to. Recently, as I was tucking the kids in for bed, a teachable moment came up. My daughter was dealing with something at school, unaware that the Bible calls out how she needed to handle the situation. As I clued her into a biblical worldview, I watched her demeanor change. Her shoulders slumped, her face contorted, her eyes focused elsewhere. There was almost this inaudible huff. I've seen this response in her before. She has such a strong will and a general disdain for rules, so I suspected that I knew the problem. I asked, "Do you not like it when the Bible applies to your life?" "No, I don't. It's hard to be a Christian. I don't want to follow the rules. It's just hard," she said. I wish I was that honest. She's right. Following all the rules is hard, especially if we lose sight of why we're following them in the first place. Jesus said, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." John 14:15. Love is why we obey. At work, we might sometimes feel like my daughter. We know we should live out our faith or share the gospel or submit to a boss we don't like, but we don't want to, plain and simple. So we kind of mentally, if not physically, cross our arms and stamp our foot and say, "I don't want to." When we feel that way about obeying, it's more than likely because we've taken our eyes off of why we should obey in the first place. We forget it isn't obedience for the sake of being obedient. It's obedience driven by our love for Jesus. Where I'm from, when someone gets saved, we say they accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Biblically, the two are inseparable. You can't have one without the other, but in our actions, we often separate the two. We want to secure eternity, so we accept Him as our Savior, but we really still want to be the Lord of our own lives. It isn't until we're willing to submit to the things He commands that we know we've allowed Jesus to be Lord in our lives. Oh, how I pray that we will view Jesus as more than just fire insurance and instead submit to His lordship. I pray that out of our love for Him and all that He's done for us, we will say, "Yes, Lord," to whatever direction He gives us today. So here's your practical tip. If you struggle with an "I don't want to" attitude, don't try to hide that from God. He already knows. Just talk to Him about the struggle and ask Him for help.